was a very, very ugly first half. They were playing their 5th game in 7 nights. They were running dribble weaves, chewing the clock up and dropping it into taller guys for ISOs and just uglying up the game, shortening the game, and we were just letting them do it. And in the second half, you know, we really fought to win the game. And the game changed when our level of fight and an understanding of what we needed to do changed. So, but the first half is one of these things that young teams need to go through. Need to learn, you know, what's going on and what we need to do to change it. And there was bickering at officials. There were just, you know, every distraction you can imagine. We were coming up with some reason to complain about something in the first half, and it was ugly. It's not the culture that we're building here. So the second half looked like us, and we did the right things to wear them down and make it hard on them, and the crowd got into it, and you know, it's a win that feels good. But the first 24 minutes was not good. But we're going to have to remember it and learn from it.
It's a pretty physical game in the first half as well. It went away from that some in the second half. What did you feel like you guys did well to respond to kind of the way they were playing and how they were up in the face all the time, things like that?
Well, we were letting them do anything they wanted. And whether it was a dribble handoff to get a switch, to get a little bit bigger guy guarding a little bit quicker guy, and then we gave up a blow by on an and one, or whether we're just letting the get the ball in the post, back us in and get one up there, and then somebody comes in and tips it in. I mean, it was ugly.
Saw you clapping when Tyrese checked out with about 30 seconds to go, kind of getting the crowd into it. What did you think of the way he played, and what inspired you to do that in that moment?
I thought his spirit in the second half was very uplifting for us. I think, and this is why we traded for him, this is why we gave up a lot to get him, is that we just believe he's that kind of leader. Is a guy that's always going to see things better than they are and look to make things better than they are, and who's humble enough to admit when he needs to do better. And all those things happen in the second half, you know, and that's why we're betting big on him.
Oshae Brissett, maybe his best stretch this season early in that fourth quarter. What did you see from him during that spin and how it helped you guys turn the game around?
Oshae demonstrated what a professional is. You know, a professional is someone that keeps their head down, keeps working, stays ready, doesn't complain, is always upbeat. You know, I coached a guy in Dallas that I think really epitomizes what Oshae has demonstrated here, and that's Dwight Powell. You know, Dwight's been through all kinds of adversities, torn Achilles. You know, they've signed guys that were projected to be guys that were better than him, but he just has tremendous heart, and he always keeps working. And even when he's not playing, he encourages his teammates, and that's what Oshae's doing. That's what he's been doing. He's been encouraging his teammates, and he's been pushing himself. And what more can you ask of a player, particularly a young player? He's in his 3rd or 4th year. I mean, this is where guys turn a corner and really learn what being a professional and being a winning player means. First half, none of us were demonstrating that. You know, it was really frustrating, and you know, give Toronto the majority of the credit for that.
You guys gave up just 14 points in that fourth quarter. What went into the defensive turnaround to close that game?
Well, we got some momentum, and then we kept the pressure on them, and then Myles sat for quite a while, and Isaiah Jackson was a big difference maker in this game, and then Myles was a closer. I mean, he blocked 2 or 3 shots down the stretch, and you know, that was the difference in the game. His 2 free throws were huge. Buddy hit a couple shots, but you know, 5 and 7 nights, all kinds of different cities, you know, but they made it about as hard as they possibly could on us.
Ricky, you talk about the challenges of that first half. What's kind of going through your mind when you just see the fouls 10-2, and it's like it felt like nothing could kind of go your way, and you're trying different lineups and getting guys out there?
Yeah, it's frustrating when you realize that your team's just not trying hard enough. That's a very daunting feeling. And at halftime, I just I had a very honest conversation with them about what was happening, why they were doing what they were doing, and how if we allowed them to continue to do it, it was going to be ugly, and why we were not going to allow it. And the beautiful thing about the NBA game right now is that it's basketball. It's not play calling. It's playmaking. It's just constant. And players are getting more and more skilled, more and more intelligent about attacking all different kinds of looks. And in the second half, we didn't run any plays at all, maybe one or two down the stretch. And Toronto was just playing in concepts. They were just eating the clock, throwing it inside, eating the clock, throwing it inside, crash, eat the clock, throw it inside, crash. And the second half, we got a good start because we were moving the ball and made some really good things happen offensively, and then got a little bit of momentum and mojo going in the fourth quarter. And then, when it was, I think it was 91-82, I looked at the score and I said to myself that if there's any way possible for us to get to 100 before them, that would be a very important thing. And we did. I was thinking it was 100-99, and then we had the challenge that we won, and then we got a spurt, and then they were just real tired at that point. But the second half was tough, really tough.
Tyrese obviously took a while to get anything going as far as scoring the basketball. Obviously, he gets 12 assists and hits that big shot. Just what did it say for him, just sort of keeping his head and keep getting after it and hitting that really important shot at a really important time?
What was the question?
What does it say for Tyrese that he kept his head through all of his struggles in the first half, still distributed the ball really well and made a big shot?
Yeah, he's a really smart person, and he's a very smart player. And there were just certain things that they were doing that we had to figure out how to attack better. And patience and discipline is such an important part of our game. And the biggest thing that had to happen was everybody out there that started the second half had to fight harder defensively. And his fight, when they were trying to post Porter and stuff like that early in the second half, was one of the things that helped turn the game. And so, look, he's 22 years old. He's not even in the middle of his third year, This is a big-time game tonight against, a team with a championship coach and some championship players over there. And so, figuring out the things you need to do is not easy. And then putting in the level of fight and heart that you have to put in, is a lot of work. But he was great, and he hit a couple of huge shots at huge times, and he found people, and he scooped up a lot of loose balls and got a lot of rebounds when we really needed it down the stretch.
I guess my mindset was that eventually they'd fall, and just got to affect the game in a different way. Try to get my hand on balls defensively. Just try to do anything I can to affect the game. And for me today, it was getting guys involved, while just staying confident in what I do.
Just talked about the disappointing first half, all the fouling, gucked up game. What did you see as what was going on then, and how you guys responded to it?
It's Toronto, man. That's how they play. They're gonna play physical. They usually got 5 guys out there all above 6'5", if Fred's not playing, who are all crashing, all switching everything. They really make the game a kind of a junk game, in a sense. But it's what they like. It's how they thrive. 5 guys crash, all those things. But the beautiful thing about being a young team is getting to learn every day. You play Denver last game, big lead at half. we've never had a big lead at half before with this group, and trying to figure out how to go in the second half and maintain a lead, which we weren't able to do. But we found ourselves down at half a few times this year where we've had to have big thirds and big fourths to get back in games, and we did that today. And it's just, I think it's all a testament to the growth of this team.
You guys only gave up 14 points in that fourth quarter. I think that was your first win when trailing entering the fourth. What did you guys do so well down the stretch in your eyes?
I thought that group that started that fourth did a good job of getting stops and just playing free. And I think TJ did a good job of helping push the pace. And he got on me to, stay aggressive even if it's not falling. And he kind of was able to take over that facilitating role while, I tried to stay aggressive or try to affect the game another way. And Oshae was really big for us, made a lot of big, hustle plays. But Isaiah as well. I thought that group that started that fourth there for us, and Ben, I thought that group that started that fourth for us was really good.
Just how important were Jalen and Myles today to kind of keep you guys in it, basically?
Everything. I looked at the scoreboard at one point. It felt like Myles had like 30 rebounds. He was just like he kept coming down, crashing hard. But like I said, like that's Toronto. They're gonna crash five, so guys got to come back and rebound. And I thought we did a really good job. All our bigs tonight did a good job of coming down, helping rebound. Because the Scars get down there, get switched, and they're very physical. So I thought they did a good job.
Tyrese, we saw you kind of feel like finally saw one go down. What were you thinking, or was it just that?
Yeah, just finally. Like it just felt like I couldn't get one to go. I couldn't buy a bucket. I'm missing layups. Just had a rough game scoring the basketball. But it comes back around. I'm sure. Law of averages, like shots are gonna go down next game. So just stay with it.
And then Rick really hit home on that halftime speech. How he was really displeased with that entire first half. Guys weren't trying, that type of thing. What was that halftime conversation like? How was it maybe different than an ordinary halftime?
I think the great part about Rick as a coach and this organization is we got guys that are honest with each other, and we have a lot of respect for each other to where we can say the truth and say things that are really going on out there and kind of just get over it, and understanding that it's not attacking anybody or coming after anybody, but it's challenging you as a basketball player. And Rick does a good job of that, challenging all of us from starters to the second group. It's like a reality check, but we've had multiple of those throughout the year. Like those first three games here at home, we had to be better at halftime, had to have a good second half, and we were able to do that. And I thought, I think it's like kind of a shock, and not a shock because we got guys who have played Toronto before, but it's like I said, like they kind of junked the game up, and they're very physical. They got guys who crash the glass with their eyes closed, it feels like, so you got to be prepared and be able to, put up a fight, be physical back. And, it felt like things weren't going our way in the first half, whether it be shots not going in, they're getting the 50-50 balls, not getting called, whatever. It's just basketball. And, we should figure it out in the second half.
Tyrese, what's impressed you the most about Benedict Mathurin so far this season?
I keep harping on this, just the confidence that he has, and just playing free. And I think he's growing and learning every day. And that's the great part about being a rookie in this game, especially when you're ahead talent-wise. And, you're like when the game slows down, which it'll take a while. I mean, I'm sure it's still going fast for him, but you can see the IQ and starting to learn the game more, and you can see where it's slowing down for him.
We saw you leave the game briefly. How's the ankle feel?
It hurts right now, but I'll be all right.
Just being ready and, being myself out there. I know that we needed a spark. I knew it was going to come from, threes or my individual performance. Coach said it from the jump. He's like, the way to win this game isn't going to be a highlight offensive play. It's going to be, defensively rebounding and just playing hard. And I think that's what we dialed into in the second half. And that's what really got us going.
Rick just talked about how all season, even when you weren't playing, he felt like you were being very professional in how you were working and cheering on your teammates to get in the game. Now that you're playing a lot, does it just feel better and that, it paid off to be that way for this year?
Yeah, man. It always feels great, seeing the work show for itself. Through anything, I'm just going to continue to be myself, honestly. Playing or not, I love basketball and I love my teammates. And, I know if roles are reversed, they're going to be the same ones jumping up and down the sideline just like how I do. So it's nothing that I try to do. It's just, the excitement of being out there and being on the floor. But yeah, it does feel great, being out there and helping us get the win, because I know that I put my time in, I put my work in to be in that position.
Is it tough for you to sit out at the beginning of the year, and does it kind of add to your motivation to play well when you do get in now?
Yeah, for sure. It is tough. And, for anyone in the NBA, it's going to be tough. You feel like you deserve to be out there. You want to be out there, just doing all the things that you've worked on to get better. But, at the end of the day, it's out of my control. And, what I can control is how hard I play when I get in. And, that's my number one priority. Go grab a board, take a charge, get a steal, do something to get us going. And I feel like I do that.
Oshae, what do you think about that sequence where TJ kind of threaded it to you, and I think you finished with a dunk, and you scored 3 straight baskets right at the rim?
Well, I was tired as hell, I'll tell you that. But it felt great, man. It feels great seeing the ball go in. It feels great seeing my teammates jumping down and be happy for me. Overall, it's just really a big boost for us. We learned a lot every single game. Even last game against Denver, how we lost the lead. I feel like we kind of learned from that of getting back into the game. And it's just every game by game, we got to just keep building, keep learning different things. We're a young team, so it's going to take a little while, but I feel like the guys are really grasping, everything that coach is really trying to put out there for us.
Rick says he had kind of a real heart-to-heart at halftime, kind of displeased about how that first half went.
Yeah.
What was your view? What was your big takeaway about his message?
That it wasn't going to come from, offensive one-on-one. The Raptors really wanted us to play that half-court basketball. And, our best games come from when we're getting on transition, running and dunking and having fun. The last couple games, it's really been that. We're able to run teams, at the gym. And, we have guys who are able to fly up and down the court and point guards who are really willing to pass the ball. And, it starts with them, Tyrese, TJ, and Andrew. It starts with them getting the ball up the floor really fast. And they do a great job of finding anyone that's open. So we all knew that that's what we had to do. In the first half, we kind of got away from who we were. And we were able to bring it back in the second half.
While you have been on the bench, it does give you a different vantage point. Is there anything about the construction, the makeup of this team that you've been able to observe through the first 10 games?
Man, I mean, I feel, every game it just gets better with how much we want to play for each other. I think it was in Brooklyn, JJ talked about we got to be more happy with everyone else's success. And I think that's really been carrying us the past couple games. We get happy when anyone gets in there and is able to do something, and I think that really gets us going because we're not really focused on ourselves. We're focused on just getting the win overall as a team because that's what it takes. So, once I get in the game, or like you said, when I'm sitting on the bench and observing, I see, where we could be better in that aspect. So I want to get in the game, I want to move the ball, get everyone, touch and feeling the ball, and then just move on from there.
This probably touches on a lot of those topics, but basically, as you're watching, how just Toronto kind of junks the game up. Basically, I mean, what are you thinking when you come in the game in terms of how you can affect it? In terms of like what were kind of the points where you were looking to attack?
Yeah, I mean, every game I play against Toronto, I know that a lot is open, like cuts are open. They really long and athletic, so they try to get in the passing lanes. So like we alluded to before, that drive with TJ and where I cut, that's open all the time. And I think, like I said, in the second half, we were able to get back to that, whereas more in the first half, we were very stagnant, one-on-one, one pass. I think Coach Mike said his stat is 20 possessions in the first half, where it was one pass or 0 passes to a shot. And we definitely couldn't have that going into the second half, and I think that the guys took it really well. And, again, playing for everyone's success.
I think the biggest thing was just to leave the refs alone. I think we felt like calls weren't going our way, but it's part of the game, and you can't get caught up in that. It's distraction, and I think we just had to start playing for each other more, and that was the biggest thing.
Defense in the fourth quarter was maybe the best quarter you guys have had all season. You limited them to 14 points. What was key down the stretch?
One-shot defense. We were getting hurt in the offensive glass in the third quarter, and I think we made a good effort to contain that in the fourth.
Tyrese said it felt like you had 30 rebounds today. Was it just a point of emphasis for you to really crash the glass, knowing how physical they were playing?
Yeah, and just knowing that I had a size advantage and just assert myself in that manner, and I just got to keep doing that, game in and game out.
3 or 4 you guys have taken on this homestand. I think 5 of 7 overall. Do you feel like the vibes are good around this team? Feeling confident? Yeah,
definitely. I think that we're a group that enjoys playing with each other. We're a group that enjoys being around each other, and that's important. If you don't have that, the camaraderie in the locker room, or just that synergy on the court, you know, it's a lost cause. But I feel like we're all trending in the right direction.
I feel like just us slowing the game down and just playing our game, man. Just playing that pace after. I feel like that really helped us. Just playing random ball flying around. I feel like guys hit some big shots down in the stretch. But I mean, I feel like we're just scrambling out there, man. And I mean, against that team that does the same thing on defense, just scrambling around. I feel like but we executed well.
You had a couple of big dunks there in the fourth quarter. They're a team that really played physical, kind of punched you guys. Something where you had to kind of punch back a little bit.
Yeah, I think the first half we sort of got hit. In the second half we came out with that just that mentality that we just gonna hit them first. That's what we did, and I think this is their 5th game, 7 days or something like that. So I mean, I feel like we as a group we knew if we had hit them they was gonna fold, and that's what they did.
Tyrese had an off shooting night, but he still had 15 assists, hit a big shot down the stretch. What's that say about him as a player?
I mean, he's the point guard, man. He does everything, facilitate. Even if he's having a bad night, he finds a way to contribute to the team, and I love it. I mean, I feel like we all had a great night. Oshae stepped up big, had some big minutes and stuff. The other guys had big minutes too as well, so I felt we put it together.
You guys won 3 or 4 this homestand, beat several playoff teams. Are you feeling confident about where this group is right now?
Yeah, of course. I feel like it's a good group of guys. I mean, we love just competing, getting after it. We have talks all the time, whether it's halftime after the game. We just find to figure it out. It's like it's not even the coaches, it's the players that we're just together. We're just figuring things out ourselves, and I feel like that just helps us in the court and down the stretch when we're down. We know we're down. We know what to do. I mean, it's a good group of guys. I love playing with these guys, man. So, I mean, we're just gonna continue to get better.